homelessness, where we can address issues like teen violence. In 2015, there were over 70 murders in the city of Nashville, up from 40 plus in 2014. Many of them were young people. That's unacceptable. We can't have that anymore. So one of the projects that we're doing is we're addressing that, and we're doing another GoFundMe campaign. If people want to support that and be a part, I just encourage them to go to the website. Our website is myif.org, myif.org. It's a simple way to look and see the programs that we're doing at myif.org, which, and if is for Infinity Fellowship. When we think about the programs that we do there, we're very much concerned with innovative approaches to old problems. So if you realize that recreation helps kids stay off the street, and you're playing basketball and pool, but you have some centers there, what if you created a place where people could learn how to do meditation and how to do yoga and how to do conflict resolution, and have people come in like Dr. Bernard Lafayette, who has volunteered to come in and teach people the King principles of nonviolence. If you have people who come in and teach martial arts, people who come in and teach mathematics, computer coding, all of these innovative ways to engage young people, performing arts. We've seen that when you give people a chance to show out on a stage, they won't show out on the street because that's all they're looking for is an opportunity to be seen, right?
That's right?
So you give people, say, hey, look, I see you and I see the real you, and I'm going to give you that opportunity. And that's what we're about, and that's what we're building on now, and relying on the entire community of Nashville to assist us in doing so. And our model makes it easy to do because we're an interfaith group. So we have people from all different faiths who are gathering together to work on this. So we're not divided by some of the things that often divide us, which include religion. So religion, social class, Infinity is a body of multicultural people from all economic levels and all faith backgrounds who are just focused on doing some good stuff.
And so, Jeff, you're still doing good. You know, as you were doing good when we first met you, and you've been doing good all of your life, and now you think that you've reached a solution in terms of how to touch more people and to reach out, and people are being influenced by some of the things that you're doing. Is that what we're saying?
What I've come to know as truth is that we are defined by our actions. One of the things that I learned in theater is that there are three ways that you define a character in a play. What the playwright says about the character, which is in the action, what the character says about themselves, and what other people say about the character. So just like Shakespeare said, the whole world is a stage. When we look at that, it's the same way. Our actions define who we are. What we say about ourselves define who we are, and what other people say defines who we are. So I'd like to think that I learned from great teachers like you and other people who are models in the community that you put your words into action, and that demonstrates. And I'd like to think that people who are around me would affirm that I'm hanging in there pretty good and still staying with the dream.
As a matter of fact, Jeff, you're here today primarily because we were able to catch you between events.
Yes.
And that somehow you were involved in a conversation with somebody way across the world, in a real sense, across the nation today, dealing with some of the issues and some of the problems. What was that all about?
I've got a friend who is with the University of Missouri St. Louis, and they've got a partnership with St. Louis Public Schools. So I'm working on a project with them to help them deal with how they engage students in a brand new way, and how we can shape and reshape education to really reach people who are marginalized. And so I'm excited about that project. I get to work with people in projects like that. I get to work in housing projects with people, and it's just a great opportunity to go out and reach people and interact with young people and teach them about everything from wealth building to investment to community development to college and how to go and navigate your way to college. I'm in a great position to live out what I hope will be a long life, but to live the rest of my life doing good. And Infinity Fellowship has blessed me to be able to do that. And in a year, we've grown from about 5, 6 people that started to about 125 now. And I think that people are responding to a message that is uplifting and affirmative and gives them something to get their hands dirty with. You
know, my granddaughter once said on one of these shows that, and she was 8 years old at this time, that I've seen it all. And I thought about that in dealing with you. You've seen it all. But there are young people today who've not seen it all. And what would your message be to young people, teenagers and et cetera, that are not focused and not directed, and you've got 2.5 minutes to talk to them in reference to what they ought to do?
I would say that the thug mentality is not limited to young people. And we think it is, but it's really not. They're modeling after adults. And we've got thugs who exist in suits. See, the word thug comes from the Thuggee cult, which was a British. They had a problem with the British and the British Empire in India, but it really comes from the ancient Sanskrit, which comes from stagati. That's the root word, etymologically speaking. And so stagati means one who conceals. That's all it is. So all of this tough stuff is to conceal something that is inside, which is really a human being who is crying to be seen and heard. So a lot of us are concealing ourselves behind our clothes, behind our jobs, behind our titles. So we're doing the same thing. We're just not out in the street acting out. So I say to the young people to shed that mentality. It's basically understanding that you're made in the image and likeness of God, however and whatever you perceive that to be, and that because of that, you have the ability to be great. And all you have to do is to embrace that thought process and be involved in creating the world that you want.
And so there's no limit in terms of what you might do or where you started from or who your parents might be and et cetera. It can all be up to you, and you can do great things simply by making a decision to do so.
The decision, it's all connected. That's why the organization I'm with is Infinity. Infinity is a symbol that has no beginning and no end, and it's constantly connected to the universe, and it goes on forever. Limitless and abundant, that's what it's all about. It's about understanding that. And if a guy can sit here and be a founder of a fellowship like this, and be an actor and be a playwright and all of this, he comes from two parents who had a 6th and a 10th grade education between them, and grew up working class in South Nashville, which means poor in this day and age. But I tell people, if I've been through that and I'm where I am, then you can be whatever you want to be.
And I think we can all echo that and say amen.
Yes, sir.
And let me thank you for coming by and giving us that excellent information in reference to housing and some of the other issues that we've talked about today. And let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and